Hello, and we are back with season one, episode 6. We are wrapping up the series, guys. I just want to start off by saying thank you. Thank you to everyone that has taken the time to watch anything that I have put out. I really appreciate your support. Anybody that has never tried to put on a podcast before, especially as a single mom, trying to, get a business off of the ground and this is having more than having one child period, but having to have three. This has been a very rough battle, so making it to this wrap up is everything to me. And I just thank you guys because we almost didn't make it here. That so many times I wanted to quit, so many times looking at the numbers on YouTube and looking at the numbers on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, not thinking the fact that I'm even in those places right now, not even taking into consideration that I was brave enough to put my stuff out there on all those platforms, just looking at like, man, the numbers aren't where I need them to be. What am I going to do? And I lost hope so many times, but God, okay? Nevertheless, everywhere I looked, I kept seeing words of never give up, never give up. When it's time, God will make it happen. And so I believe him for the things that are here and the things that I cannot see. And just along with that, I just wanted to say thank you. I thank you, and I pray he bless all of you that took the time to give me this moment out of your day for Text Talk with Jay. Okay. So another announcement. So with this wrap up, we're going to take some time. We'll be back in August with our new series, along with a rebrand. I know you see the shirts. Yes, Black Tax Professional. So with that being said, just the logo. With that being said, we will rebranding, and so we will go from Tax Talk with Jay to a chat with a black tax professional. Somewhere along that lines for the rebranding of the name. I just want to make sure it's unique, but also something that, somebody else doesn't have. I don't want to bite off anybody else's show, but this is the road we're going into. This is the company uniform, by the way. So it's not just something I came up with. This is what I wear when I speak with my customers, whether it's a virtual visit or whether it's a one-on-one for tax planning or completing a tax return. This is what I wear. So along with that, we are, working on some other things as far as the TikTok series. So you'll see, if you follow us on I'm sorry, I'll give that out at the end. If you follow us on TikTok, if you don't, check us out at our website at jchambersconsult.services. We can definitely get you connected there with every streaming platform that we're on, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We can get connected with you. So on TikTok, we have our TikTok series. On YouTube, we have our some summer sessions going on. Free information, just free information all around outside of the TikTok series. TikTok series you have to pay for. We still have the comprehensive tax courses. We open enrollment on July 31st. So just make sure you keep that in mind. July 31st, 2023, we will open enrollment for all courses, not just the self-paced, but the instructor-led courses as well. This will be our last opportunity for instructor-led courses for this year. For this year, this will be our last opportunity for instructor-led courses due to the fact that tax season is coming up. Because guess who's the teacher? Me. So with that being said, I have to make sure I plan correctly. And so we have that. So without further ado, let's go into a message from our sponsors. Psych. I'm joking. Let's recap, guys. Thank you for your patience with that. This is my first podcast, so the message from our sponsors thing has been something that I've been trying to work in there, and I'm gonna figure out a different way to do it next year. But next month. But for now, you got the announcements. Govern yourselves accordingly. So in this season, we've been talking about a lot of things. First, we started with leave wealth and not debt, right? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to leave wealth and not trying to leave debt behind. That means speaking to your parents. Parents, have some accountability, baby. Have some accountability. be able to take information from not just people that are professionals, but sometimes your children need to be let into the loop. Even if that means you've done some things you may not be proud of, such as, oh, I'm just not going to file that return for that year, or I'm paying back the IRS because I pulled money out of my 401k and didn't pay proper taxes. Whatever it needs to be, transparency is a real thing, and it needs to happen within your household, especially when these children are being named your beneficiaries and things of that nature. So if you have adult children, and that feel like, they want to give some assistance or they just want to be kept in the loop, let's kind of go ahead and do that, okay? So with that being said, you want to make sure you have, you get one place that your children can help you, especially if you're not very computer literate. You have state income taxes, and then you have federal income taxes. So it makes great sense for there to be a state website and a federal website. Why are these websites important? Because that's why after tax season closes in April, they drop that tax on you. They drop them fees, they drop them charges, because you can actually pay taxes year round. And so familiarizing ourselves with these websites are not only going to give us access to pay and see how much we owe or see how much has been paid on our behalf, it's also going to give us access to tax transcripts, okay? It's also going to give us access to tax calendars, things of that nature. So if you're trying to become a more responsible adult when it comes to your taxes, it's not hard. The information is there, but you definitely need to into help, especially from your beneficiaries. Keep them in the loop. Don't just have them going through papers and figuring things out when your time here is up, because nobody knows the date or the hour, okay? All right, great. So we definitely have some good information. Episode 1. Episode 2, we talked about budgeting, adding that tax liability to your budget. How do we know whether or not we have enough coming out? We go to our W-4. We want to look at our tax charts. There are tax charts. So first, I want you to start off on maybe those DIY sites or Nerd Wallet, something of that nature, to give you more of an explanation of your tax chart. Because from zero to about $10,044, you pay 10% of whatever you make on taxes. So it's a certain amount, and then it's 10% for anything over that amount up until a certain amount. And that's basically how it goes. That's your basic description. If you go on I'm saying Intuit, that's the parent company. If you go to TurboTax and you look for that tax calculator, that tax chart to tell you what's being owed, it's going to look complicated, but the good news is they can explain it to you step by step on there, okay? And if you don't have a clear understanding of that, check us out on YouTube in about a week or two. We'll definitely have the explanation up for you, okay? Now, with that being said, we talked about updating your W-4, adding your tax liability to your savings plan or your tax plan or your budget if you find yourself owing the IRS every year. If you don't want to do that, updating that W-4 and going down to the box where it says, do you want to take out any estimated taxes for next year, we can bump that up to $77. $77 bi-weekly. $77 bi-weekly will put you at $2,000 for paying towards your taxes for the upcoming year. So that's just something for you to think about as we go along, but we gave some good advice. Episode 3, we talked about giving God his 10%. We broke down that budget, that 50, 20, 20, 10. So we have 50% for our bills, 10% for God, and we have 20% for our wants, 20% for our needs. Now, this is if you are financially stable. If you are financially stable. If you are not financially stable and we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, then we definitely went into our next episode where we finished up that budget model and we gave some information on things you can do to make extra money, okay? Another thing I wanted to add there is those that are looking to jump into the work from home site and you don't really know where to go, invest in yourself. There's something called Arise Solutions. And with Arise Solutions, as long as they have a need in your state, you could start with them. Pay for your training. Most of the time the training isn't that much unless it's a hot program, but pay for your training. I know I got on Carnival Cruise Lines, my training was like $9.99. So it all depends. You can catch a sale, Home Depot, things of that nature. Roadside assistance, there's a lot offered there. I live in New York, so I don't currently use Arise anymore. But when we leave, because we are definitely looking to leave, we'll be looking at Arise again as far as something for extra money. So definitely something to look at. Yes, I own a business, but I'm starting the business. I'm pulling it up off the ground. So with that being said, I'm gonna have to make sure that I can pay my bills while I'm doing this. something that's going to help me, your side gigs, independent contract work, things of that nature. Okay. With the rise, you get to choose your own hours. Sometimes you got to fight for those hours in the peak seasons, but baby, you can make it work. You can make things work. You can make it do for you. All you need is a good solid budget and to really identify what your needs, your bills, and your wants are. Get rid of those extra things that you don't need. Sometimes we got to take a step back from the nail salon. I know that's your self-care. You may need to find a different way to do it, okay? You can do it. You are capable. This came with a pack of nails from the hair store that were about this long and a file. Electric drill. That's it. It came with the pieces. I filed over my nails. I cleaned my hands. I pushed the cuticles back because it came in one of those too. Cleaned up the cuticle area. And then once I finished going over them, I put glue on the nail, glue on the finger, and boom. I've been wearing these for how long? If you follow me on TikTok, I've had these nails on. I have not changed any of them. All I did was maybe cut them down when they started to grow out, as you can see. But I've had these nails on for well over 10 days. And I do a lot in this house. I wash a lot of dishes. I cook meals like 2 to 3 times a day. I play with children. I have a 3-year-old. I got to pick her up. I got to throw her around. I got a 6-year-old. Sometimes we got to tussle because he likes to tussle, okay? I'm mommy. Mommy gets in with it all. We play video games. These thumbs be going. Sometimes mommy wants to throw a controller, but, I'm active with this. So, something to keep in mind, you can be beautiful. You can be gorgeous. Sometimes you have to revamp your budget so you can have things in the future, okay? Nobody should have to set up a GoFundMe account when you pass away. Life insurance should be one of your bills. Nobody should have to set up a GoFundMe account. Your job should not be the only place that you have life insurance. But we'll get into that, okay? So that was episode 4. Episode 5, getting into that life insurance. We talked about accountability. Same thing we talked about with the nails. We talked about the accountability. That phone bill where you're constantly trying to keep up with the Joneses. Nobody said that you can't have the latest iPhone, but they normally announce that stuff a couple of months down the line. Why can't you put that money away? Why can't we start building credit with the self-lender account? I'm saying it because I've used it. Why can't we start building credit with a self-lending account? Why can't we do that? Why can't we open up a Chime banking account and let that direct deposit go there, and then you open up a savings, because in that savings account you can't allow anything to be drafted from it. So let's open up a savings account, and then once you get a $200 deposit, you have a credit card. You have a credit card. So there are so many ways that you can do things in order to save money and put money aside. I personally feel like you need 2 separate checking accounts. When you go sit down on your job and they give you your paper to fill out for direct deposit, read it carefully. You don't have to put everything in the same account. If you know how much you're going to make every time you get paid, you're going to work that 40 hours. Some needs to go to one account. Some needs to go to the other account. Whatever account that you have auto pay on, that's a separate account. But at least when those bills hit, you still have money in that other account. There's a will, there's a way. There's plenty of ways to do things. You just have to be willing to do them. So that was the hard conversation that we had in episode 5. Okay, guys? Now, here we are. Well, episode 5, yeah. So here we are in our final series, right? Notes, because I love y'all. I'm not about to skimp on the information. So here we are in our final series, and we're going to talk about something very, very, very important. It's called what's killing us right now in our budgeting. I got to tell you guys, it's really killing us. And I'm noticing the response from a lot of my followers on TikTok. When I post about the budget series and the tax series that's coming out, $3 at Target. You don't have to have the latest stuff. $3 at Target. But anyways, when I post about those things, I get a lot of feedback of, I didn't learn how to do this. I didn't know how to do this. I wasn't taught how to do this. And now I'm trying to teach my child how to do better and things. And I applaud you for the account. Yes, because neither was I. I was not taught how to budget my money. I tell the story all the time about how my grandma had a bill book, and how I was in high school, and I took government and econ, and I had a teacher. His name was Michael Carraher. I will never forget him. He was awesome. And so Michael Carraher, Mr. Carraher, still got to call him Mr. Carraher. I'm a Southern girl. So Mr. Carraher He had government econ, and in order to pass his course, you had to balance your budget. That thing cut my tail. And I've always been a very proud young lady. So asking for help outside of Mr. Caraher was not about to happen. So my mom didn't find out how bad this course cut my butt until I passed it. I passed it. But I wish I had spoken to her sooner, because when I went to her and I said, Mom, I'm talking to her about this. We didn't have that when I was growing up. I had home ec. What you mean you had home ec? I had home ec. I can teach you how, and she showed me how to sew a pillow. My mom showed me so many things, but the budgeting portion of it, I learned it at school. And so, but all schools are not created the same. Teachers create their own lessons plans. I was blessed to have Mr. Caraher. And what's crazy is because those things weren't in my home, it took years for me to really go back to that training. It took years of me messing up money, messing up finances, always trying to help somebody. Trauma bonding. Oh my goodness. So much of that kept me broke. Okay. Am I balling right now? No. I'm at the point of saving to where I'm not broke. And when I say saving, I mean at least 3 months worth of my bills in a savings account, so that I can then begin to separate 20% for wants and 20% for needs and things. I'm working. So this is a working budget. Okay. And that's what I want you guys to understand. It's not going to come together for you the very first time you do it. You're going to make some mistakes, baby. First time I started budgeting, actually, it's something I continue to struggle with now. It's not as bad now as it was, but I have PMDD. And so with PMDD, it's a heightened sense of PMS. So that means like when Mother Nature is getting ready to come, how some of us just get a little angry, or we get a little flustered, or we may have a little bit of anxiety, some cramps, and some tiredness. Baby, I'm tired. I'm severely depressed. I want to cry. Looking at The Little Mermaid drops me into anything, the smallest thing, severe depression, and it comes out of nowhere. And so I've had to do different things. Originally, I went to the gynecologist and they diagnosed me with PMDD. They said, okay, we got two things, because it's a hormonal imbalance. You can either get on birth control. That I don't have tubes for that very reason, so I wouldn't have to get on birth control. So no, that's a no for me. And then they said you could take the depression medication. I was like, okay, well, I'm already on depression meds, so I feel like I'm on the right track. So I work with my psychologist. I may be saying that wrong, but I work with them to get my dosing right. And once I got my dosing correct, then I was able to really get to a better point. Now, the good news and the blessing from God is I'm no longer on depression medication, because I've learned to really manage my emotions and manage my. Now, do I still have some? Do some still drag me under the bus? Look, when this episode was supposed to come out, it's supposed to come out every Wednesday, and I go look at my episodes. Exactly. Sometimes my depression drags me slam under the bus, backs up, and sits on me and revs the wheels. Okay. So everybody's gonna go through things. When I go through those states, baby, who's cooking? Not me. These kids gonna eat. I'm gonna make sure they eat. I'm gonna make sure they have everything they need, even if it has to be hand delivered to that door and financed by me 3 to 4 times a day. That's what's gonna happen. And it sounds insane, doesn't it? But I will go broke before I allow my children to be without. And so in those moments, the guilt hits you so bad. But this isn't about that. It's about, we're going to go through things. We're going to hit bumps that cause us to mess up our budget. What matters is that we look into it, we hold ourselves accountable, and we try to do something different the next time. So that's what we do. So I know that when I plan now. So I try to plan as in advance as I can, because I get like 2 good weeks a year. I'm going to be honest with you. I get 2 good weeks a year where I'm like, oh, I can do anything. I can be anything I want to be. And then after that 14th day, it's like, okay, you might be able to do it. You kind of can do it. And then about 17 days in, I'm like, you know what? I think I need a nap. Okay, I'm trying to get this done. And then we going in and we 20 days in, and it's like, oh, I don't even know why I went down this road. I don't know. I'm really unsure about things. I just, Lord, please help me. And then we get on down to that 28th day, and I'm in the bed. I need a rest. I don't even know what's going on. The tears are falling, and this should be the happiest day of my life because there's nothing wrong. We got everything we need. We are blessed. Lord, why am I crying? You know what I mean? And then we turn around and Mother Nature hits. And so now I've started doing some things. So at one point I didn't buy processed foods. I'm like, I'm gonna cook. And I was okay with that. I was okay with cooking. Our most recent position put me in a place to have to cook all the time, and I was fine with that. Because we haven't always, this black tax professional came from a lot. It came from a lot. And we'll get into that story towards the end of the podcast, right? But so we sit here, and I've decided, okay, I'm gonna buy the healthiest foods that I can, that they can pop in the microwave. So chicken corn dogs, got it. Fresh cut French fries, got it. Whatever I can put in there, chicken wings that I know don't have any antibiotics in it, that are pre-cooked, boom, those are in there. Whatever I can do, whatever I can put in there that my oldest child can say, okay, put the oven on 350, put these on here, put it in the oven. When the timer goes off, flip, push the timer again. Okay, and then when it comes out, get it, put it there. It's gonna cool, and we're all gonna eat. Because when mommy's low, but I need to make different measures for that. Doing that cut my eat out budget tremendously, but I had to get there. A lot of people will say, "Oh, that's common sense, baby." Some people got to get there. This is a safe space. You won't be shamed for that. Okay. So, with that, we also have some other things that are holding us down, guys. One big thing that's holding us down is this instant gratification. I want this, I want that. I've been I sit down and I watch so many podcasts, so many different things. And something that stood out to me is I saw one woman say, the soft life is earned. The soft life is earned. And she put in, hey, my company allows me to have the soft life because of the service that I offer. And they want to say, what can we do to make things as easy as possible on you so that you can continue to provide this service, this excellent service that you provide, and we can continue to keep you. And I think that's great. I think what she said is amazing. And I think that applies to us, to everyone, but in different contexts. You know what I mean? So what I mean by different contexts is, hey, it's earned by sitting down, carving out a reasonable budget. It's earned by being transparent with yourself. Because you don't have to wait until you find a significant other to have that soft life, but you need to be honest with yourself. Don't expect people to come into your life and do things for you that you can't afford to do for yourself. If it's putting you in debt to do it for yourself, stop it. Because you may not find that person before you leave this earth. And what if you leave this earth with children? What are you leaving them? What do they have? How will they make it? Okay, this is where we begin to heal. We have to stop the instant gratification. We have to stop the instant gratification. And that's why we're going through rebranding, because we're kind of speaking to the soul now. Not just our finances, but the soul. And so with that, I want to make sure that our next series and going forward is all inclusive, which includes the soul. We talk about, I talk about God a lot. And one thing that is apparent in the Bible that we all need is discipline, because you rule your flesh. Your flesh does not rule you. And once we get that in our heads, we're going to do okay. Sometimes we have to do a personal rebranding. Sometimes we got to do a personal rebranding. When I was growing up, I was told, you're supposed to keep your legs closed. And if you go out and mess with men, you're going to have a baby. And, I was taught from the book of Revelations. It was basically a threat. And if you do this, you're going this place, that place, I don't, and so it wasn't until I became an adult that I actually understood the love of God and that suffering was mandatory. Suffering is what you needed to help you get closer to God, because it helps you really hone in on His goodness, and it helps you really stop relying on yourself. Things have not been easy for us. Things have not been easy financially, physically. Things have not been easy. But you know what? This is the best my life has been since I had my first child. This is the best my life has been since before I had my first child. And the reason for that is because once I had my first child, it was okay, mama, baby, daddy, maybe, or you better get out there and do it. Nobody told you to lay down and have this kid with that man. You knew he was, ooh, it was a lot. It was a lot. I could do no good. You get on public assistance, you're lazy. Oh my goodness, I could do no good. And that was society. That's society. That's the way the world works. It's easier to kick a dog while it's down than to uplift somebody that you've already put down so far, so low. It's fine. So we're healing. We're healing that inner child, right? And so I was going so hard. All I kept doing was asking God, God, just give me the strength to keep on going. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. Oh, I could work myself 14, 16 hours. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. And people would say things because they would see I was going entirely too hard. But the things they'd say would really hurt my feelings. Like one time someone told me, you're doing so much. Make sure you got the insurance policy right so I can make sure these kids are good when you're gone. That's a really harsh thing to say to somebody. But it rang in my head over and over and over and hurt my feelings over and over and over again until I really saw what God was trying to tell me, because the burden is not yours to carry. So yeah, I gave you that strength. I gave you that will. My resume is amazing, but did I feel like I did a great job in all the positions that I held? No, because I didn't have God walking with me. I'm not like, okay, God, what are we doing next? How are we doing this? I was like, oh God, thank you for the position. Give me the strength, give me the strength, give me the strength, give me the strength. And I'm gonna do everything else my way. There was no discipline. There was no discipline in my life. Okay. So now I'm older. I'm able to walk with God. I'm able to read my Bible and see things. And so as far as let's talk about love. No instant gratification on love. All this instant gratification that I've wanted. Well, let me go out and if we happen to, lay together, that's fine. And this and that, we all need to know what we're getting into. That's a horrible mindset. That's a horrible mindset. Being, okay, well, we can live together and we can do this, that, and the third because, and eventually we'll get married. That's a horrible mindset, because then you find yourself in these situationships that last for years. And for what? Sometimes they end out well. Most times they don't. And for what? When all along, we should have been taught discipline in the beginning. Discipline, and not just discipline in our lives, discipline in what we're doing, how we spend our money, how we spend our time. You know what I'm saying? And so we have to get away from the instant gratification. I have to look good now. I have to have this look now. I got to look like the video girls now, because that's what's going to attract him or her now. And I can only speak for, the female version. I can't tell a man how to be a man. I'm not a man. I'm a woman. And so I can only speak from my personal experiences. So I'm not going to attack anybody. I'm just going to speak my truth. And the truth is, I've been at more peace now since I've had more self-discipline, and I've worried less, and I've been less anxious than I was prior to when I had no self-discipline. When my only discipline was getting to the bag, my only discipline was getting to the higher position. When it came to focusing on that job and getting that work done, yeah, because I want that money. I want y'all to move me up. I want this, I want that. But when it came to my life and how I lived it and how I did things and how I went about things, no. Because there was a time Jay had this thing down. Jay will read you from one end of the room to the other. No more. We're not doing that anymore. We are over here protecting our peace. We are praying for people. We are wishing them well. We are forgiveness, whether I want to or not. Forgiveness. That's where we are over here, because at the end of the day, it just brings me so much more peace. And so even in my financial matters, when I get paid, God gets his money first. And when I do that, I don't even think about it anymore. I really never miss it. Because it's 10%. When I get paid, I give God his money first. And some people are like, oh my gosh, a whole 10%. Yes, a whole 10%. Whole 10%. Even if you make $900, 90 of that needs to go to God. And when you do that, You're storing. You're following the word. Because how do you expect God to give you an increase if you're not going to give Him His cut? Anything could have happened. That check could have been held up at any point. There could have been any point. They could have messed up your hours and you not been able to pay your bills. Anything could have happened and you could not have been paid. And some people go through things, but they don't get paid for a while. So those are things that we need to look at when we're talking about discipline. When we're talking about, you're looking around, this is why it's not good to look at what your neighbor has. This is why it's not good to worry about what they got going on. There's so many people flouncing around here in fancy stuff and in debt. And lots of it. But they got the club, they got that, they got that knot. They showing you, they got the latest this, the latest that. They rock the latest Jordans. They own nothing. $450 car payment, car insurance. They own nothing. No home, paying $2,000 a month for rent. They own nothing. And so a lot of that goes with that instant gratification. That instant gratification of, I need all of this right now. I need this nice apartment right now. I need these goods right now. But some of the other portion of this, and some people are not going to like this, but I'm going to be honest with you. We as parents have to set our children up better. A lot of parents put their kids out when they were 18 and didn't realize that they were supposed to give them any kind of substance to go with that. Why? Because it was done to me. That's what happened to me. At least I have your back when you need some money, because that's more than my parents had for me. We gotta stop. Baby, let that hurt go. Let that hurt go. Okay? The first way that we're going to have generational wealth is to set our children up correctly. That means teach them how to budget when they're old enough to work. Children in New York can get a job at 14. There are work programs at 14. So that means my son can budget now. My son pays the Netflix bill because I don't watch Netflix. So why do I pay the bill? He pays the Netflix bill out of his allowance. He has to budget for that. These are things that we start out with early. We start out with the savings early. Hey, baby, whatever you ain't spent by Friday is going directly in your savings account. I'm so sorry for you. Whatever you have not spent by Friday is going in your savings account. And that's how it's going to accumulate. And we have rules on when you can buy a new game. We buy new games every 3 months, not every month, because just because you can does not mean you should. And so now that we're on the every 3 months thing, it's I could get it, but I'm good. We're doing other things to save money, like PlayStation Plus. Okay? Because you can play those games on there. You don't have to have the latest and the greatest all the time. Instant gratification is killing us. And everybody's preaching, I need this, and self-care. You can have self-care, baby, but it does not have to cost that much. And if it does, you can save for it. Don't empty out your checking account for this. Don't empty out your savings account for this. I get it. Okay, you want to take that trip. Save for it and make sure you come back with something. Baby, please don't do this. That's all I can continue to say. I see it so much. The way we create these lifestyles. My nails are $150. Baby, do you have a home? What does your credit score look like? Do you have life insurance? Do you have whole or term policies on your children? Whole gives you a return on your investment. How many items do you have that you're placing your money into where you get a return on your investments? It's okay to travel. It's okay to do these things, but make sure you have a proper savings account before you do it. And the instant gratification is stopping us from doing that. The instant gratification got y'all looking for a trip with $1,000 in your account and you still have debt on your credit report. And I'm not talking about student loan debt, because we all got it. We all got it. Yay, baby. Work that how you need to so that it does not affect your credit score, because when you go to buy a house, that they only count a small percentage of that, the student loan debt. But I'm talking about all the other debt, all the other things you allowed to be placed on your credit because you didn't want to pay for it. When do you stop? When do you stop? And so that that takes me into Next thing, I heard somebody say, stop being a half adult. And that cracked me up. It cracked me up. Let me tell you why. So stop being a half adult. What does that mean? So we have people that'll be out here. Coffee is amazing. And we're going to talk about this cup as well. We have people out here that will, tell me if you know them, they can tell you everything about what you need to go down there to the office and get this. You need to go down there in the office and do that. You need to go down here to this board and get this done. And yeah, I know something about that. And then when you say, well, how do I stop owing the government so much money on my taxes? I don't know nothing about that. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna take this class. This is the man. I ain't trying to learn all that. I ain't trying to learn about no taxes and nothing. I ain't trying to learn. When as an adult, as a taxpayer, you should know. We'll get back to that. But then they say at their job, hey man, if you take this, if you come over here and you train on this machine for 6 months, we'll give you a pay bump. If you learn how to do all of these jobs, we'll put you in a supervisor position. So on your job, you'll do it for pennies. You'll do it for pennies, because them pennies, baby. On your job, you'll do it for pennies. But for your life, for your well-being, to create your nest egg, you're not willing to learn? That's the problem. Stop being a half adult. Stop going to get a job and signing up for packages like 401k, FSA, HSA, and then when it comes time for you to know what to do or to communicate your needs or for you to understand what you've invested in or what the tax liability is, I don't know nothing about that. Stop being a half adult. When it comes to you getting paid, I'm grown. This is my money. I want to spend it the way out. You grown when it's your money. You grown when you go to that job every 40 hours for 40 hours. You grown when you collecting that check. You're a grown man. They're not grown man, grown woman. They're not about to play with you. But when somebody tries to tell you, okay, you need to do this to cut your tax liability. You need to save these receipts so that you can itemize. Let me explain to you what itemization is. It's TikTok got to come tell you. I saw on a TikTok and the person on TikTok, so that's why I'm there. Because I realized I couldn't reach him on Facebook. I couldn't reach him on Instagram. So I came to TikTok. Because I realized TikTok was the only place I could reach him. Because TikTok is the only thing breaking through to give you information to say, hey, you're doing this wrong, baby. You're doing it wrong. Stop. Stop buying up all these $150 shoes, putting rims on your car, systems in your car, buying these. Y'all, please stop spending all this money on instant gratification. And you own no home, you own no land, you own no nothing. But then when these people go and they decide, okay, I'm gonna take up a trade, I'm gonna open up a business, you get mad about their price. Because I don't think we really understand that this is where treating yourself really comes in at. This is where you should, this is called treating yourself. Being able to go to a local business or have your own personal esthetician, your own personal tax preparer, your own personal financier, your own personal things. This is where treating yourself really comes in. This is where pulling the load up off of yourself comes from. And so not trying to keep up with the Joneses, not trying to have the latest whatever artist is wearing, not trying to buy the latest artist clothing. Yeah, that's great, wonderful to support, but the real treating yourself is your local luxuries. Because which one of us isn't in love with our favorite wax girl? Okay, because at this point you got an intimate relationship, right? All right, okay. Things like that. Your skincare matters to you. Where are you getting those products? Exactly. Your hair care matters to you. Who's doing your hair? These are true self-care luxuries. So if we really start putting into ourselves for what we're doing for ourselves, as far as taking care of our bodies, not making our bodies look good on the outside and trash on the inside, how are you taking care of yourself? If you have to wear wigs all the time, how are you taking care of your natural hair to the point where you can actually wear it out? Where you can actually do things. What is your hair care routine? Things of what are you putting into yourself? Are you just pulling braids out, putting them back in, pulling crochets out, putting them back in? The world can't see you at your natural state because you don't love your natural state. Something to think about. Something to think about, okay? So, as we go through these things, and we talk about being a half adult, and that instant gratification, we want to keep these things in mind because most of the time you're not bad with money. You're not bad with money. You lack discipline. Okay? I know a lot of us don't want to think about the fact that how the things that we do in our leisure or to relax may be getting out of hand. Maybe you're spending too much money on marijuana. Coming from somebody that used to smoke marijuana. So don't think I don't know where you're coming from, okay? Maybe you spend too much money on alcohol. And the only way to really understand where a lot of your money going is to hold yourself accountable, pull out a budget sheet or a budget book, list those expenses. If you can't remember all of them, go to your debit card. That's going to hold a lot of information. Go to that bank transaction. You get a statement every month, a bank statement. How many of you actually look at it? You should pull that. You should really look at where your spending is going. If it's going to fast food, figure out a way to cut that down. I know I mentioned in one of my other ones, they have family meals. If you have a restaurant that you eat at often, maybe you should consider getting a family meal and meal prepping. Oh, I don't want that. I don't want leftovers. Baby, this is where the discipline comes in. This is where the discipline comes in. Oh my gosh, I don't like press-ons. They make press-ons with acrylic in them. They make strong press-ons. This is where the discipline comes in, okay? And I find one couple that I follow, the Ellises, Kadeem and Duval. And so I love their story. I love the way they've transitioned. I was here before he got over. So it's yeah, I love it. I love where they are right now. And the platform that they have and how they have kind of their own reality show on this app. And so the name is gone from me just that quick. I think it's Paleon. I want to say that's what it is. I could be saying it wrong, guys, but forgive me for that because I didn't mean to mention the app they're on. I just meant to mention them because they did an interview. And he said, people always ask me, Duval, how did y'all do it? How did y'all do it? He said, we cut back. She stopped getting her nails done, stopped getting her hair done. We shared a car for a year. We really cut back, saved, and looked at our finances and then invested in ourselves. A lot of us don't want to do that. We don't want to cut out the instant gratification. We don't want to, I just need a peace of mind. No, baby, you need to pray. I'm just going to be 100% honest with you. You definitely need to pray. And I think a lot of reasons that we don't come to God with all of this is because it holds us accountable. The Holy Spirit is going to convict you. Once you accept it and you invite it in, the Holy Spirit is going to convict you. And sometimes that conviction is too much. For example, my oldest son, when he was christened, after he turned 1, I was baptized. And so I was trying to get my life on track. But that conviction, oh my goodness, that conviction was so strong. I completely just went the other way. I'm like, nope, I'm just going, that can't be the right way for me. I'm going to live my life this way. I'm going to do the things that I feel like I need to do. I feel like, if I conform, the right husband will find me and I'm going to be okay. Boy, was I wrong. Okay. So here we are, New York City, 3 kids later. Depression had me. Oh my goodness. By my own hands, I wouldn't be here today. But God, right? So in going through that, I decided to get baptized again. And this time, we're on a clearer journey. On the journey to get baptized, I decided to become celibate. And in becoming celibate, that meant no masturbation. We got rid of the toys, everything. So in this journey, we stopped smoking marijuana. We got rid of the toys. We got rid of everything. And we're just going through on this journey, trying to get close to God. coming in with more clarity. And I'm realizing when I'm stressed out, when I'm depressed, when I don't know what's going to happen financially, I'm learning to put it in the hands of God and not just like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Cry. And I'm learning to put it in the hands of God. When you do that, you get the peace that surpasses all understanding. Like I promise you guys, yes. Okay. Everything ain't gonna work out the way you want it. So you're not always gonna see what God is trying to do for you. This is hard. I'm not about to lie and say this is hard, but it feels so much easier when I sit back and I'm relying on my own everything, my own thoughts, my own emotions. This gets really hard and it weighs on me. Like, Lord, what we gonna do? And I trust you, but I don't trust myself. And then you don't trust me. Then you don't trust me. Because if I'm all in you and you let me have my way and you've invited the Holy Spirit in, you let the Holy Spirit convict you. And that means you trust in me. So if the Holy Spirit is convicting you and you're allowing it to lead you, you are trusting me. And therefore you have no choice but to trust yourself because I'm in control. I know. I wouldn't hit you with it if I wasn't living it, okay, baby? I would not hit you with it if I was not living it. But yes. So like things are rough right now, rough. And God has given me a peace that surpasses all understanding because some of these things are out of my control. A lot of those things are out of my control. Well, everything is actually out of my control. But when I say out of my control, I mean like I did not do anything to cause this. It's the way some of the systems work. And so now I have to sit back and trust God and trust that He's going to take care of it because I've done all that I can do. I've done all that I can humanly, possibly, that the system allows me to do. So I have to let God have His way. And you would not believe how much, because we have everything we need. I opened up a business, hitting red flags left and right. God, I won't, yes. God said, no, not right now. And guess what? We still have everything we need. That's what you have to hone in on. You have to think about those things. Man, I want to go get my nails done. Man, I want to go get my feet done. Man, I want a massage. These are all things I want. I want a massage. I want to go sit down and have an amazing dinner because, baby, I love me some food. I love to eat. Okay. Love some food. But I got responsibilities. I have things that I'm saving for. I want to move out of New York City. How am I going to move if I'm not going to save the money? How am I going to buy the house if I'm not going to make sure that credit score is where it needs to be? How am I going to be able to do anything if I can't put the money in escrow? How do I offer new services so my business will flourish if I'm not willing to study and get those credentials? So sometimes the wait is necessary. Sometimes the wait is the build up. Sometimes the wait is you putting more time into you. We don't always need the instant gratification. So I'm with that host that says, stop being a half adult. I know it's hard. It is hard. This is not easy, especially if you have no guidance. If you don't have anybody to point you in the right direction and say, hey, this is the right thing to do. I remember one day, you have all oppositions from all corners. I was having a conversation with some people. And I'm having a conversation and we're talking about budgeting. And I'm like, yeah, we eat out. I put $20 to $25 aside a week for us to at least have one good eat out meal. I thought that was a really smart idea. It's not a bad idea because at that time I could afford to put that to the side. And they were quick. You're stupid. You're stupid. You don't need to eat out at all. You don't need to do this. And the people that were with them were like, oh, here we go again. But nobody stepped in to say, no, don't talk to her like that. She's actually trying to budget her money correctly. She's budgeting a want for once a week, and she's putting aside a reasonable amount of money to feed her and her 3 children. $25 on some fast food, but that's a treat for us in a week. Even if we spread that 25 out over ice cream, knickknacks, whatever, I've budgeted for that. And in that time, I was not, even though I was an adult and I had 3 children, I wasn't at the point where I was smart enough to be like, you know what? This person is hating on me. This person is hating on me. They're trying to put their own personal views on me because they feel like they're higher than I am. And they're not trying to encourage me because all they could do was tell me I was stupid. They couldn't give me another plan. They couldn't give me any other information. All they could do was tell me I was stupid. So at that time, and because it was an elder, that was a blow to my self-esteem. And so now, and so now, that I've separated from that crowd. I've separated from those people. And I'm in a different place to where I can read and get myself to the information that is required. Financial literacy course. I'm enrolled in a bookkeeping certification course right now. Exactly. Doing these things has helped me. And I can see that those people just didn't want good for you. This is how when you begin to change, you begin to do things better for you. People that want better for you help offer you a solution. Hey, I don't really know how you're supposed to calculate that or what to tell you about your 401k, but I can tell you that the brokerage firm that your company uses, you have an asset there. They're waiting on you to call them. Their job is to help you because they've been hired. They have your account. You can go to them for help. Okay? Okay. So that people that want better for you offer assistance. Okay? When I have friends that have children with special needs, I'm like, hey, wait. When I was in manufacturing, I met a lady and she told me about the CHAD program. She told me about CHAD. You should check out CHAD. I can't tell you everything about how to get an IEP, but I can give you some information on things that's going to help you. Okay? Okay? Know the difference. Know the difference between somebody trying to bring you down and somebody trying to lift you up. Okay? You don't have to be on the same level as the person trying to lift you up because they probably trying to lift themselves up as well. So you don't have to fake the funk. You don't have to, and of course, and yes, no, be yourself because they wouldn't be there with you if they didn't want you to be yourself. Okay? We're all learning together. We're all building together. And I know this episode was a lot longer than my usual episodes, but I just had so much that I wanted to share and just to come to terms. I want you guys to come to terms with you don't have to have it right now. You can be patient and build up to it. And I promise you, you will appreciate it so much more. You can go to Dubai. You can go out of the country. You can do whatever you want to do, baby. But do it responsibly. Okay. Now, this has been the final installment of Tax Talk with Jay. I love you guys. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks after our rebrand with our brand new series. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for sticking with me this long, and you be blessed.